Welcome back to Dirty 20, everybody. Today we take a look at the repository of magical knowledge on the Sword Coast in the Forgotten Realms, Candlekeep. Let's get on with the show. Thanks for joining us, lovely people. Now, if like me, you love settings like the Unseen University from Discworld or Hogwarts from the Harry Potter novel series, then I think you're going to love Candlekeep. This fortress library composed of 50-foot high walls made of stone and iron surrounding various towers of differing heights, with the inhabitants of the keep known as the Avowed, a group of renowned scholars who worship a sage known as Aluondo the Seer, whose prophecies of massive events that would occur on the Sword Coast would come to pass. Now, let's take a look at the recent book that was published by Wizards of the Coast called Candlekeep Mysteries. If you haven't checked it out, we did do a first look at this book. Please do so. But today we're going to look more in depth at the first chapter of the book, aptly named Candlekeep. Standing atop a rocky crag overlooking the Sea of Swords, the massive citadel of Candlekeep has endured the elements for centuries and defied the degradations of time. Visible for miles around, Candlekeep has an eye-catching silhouette, a high wall interspersed with towers. This wall encloses a large space from which more towers rise. Those who behold the edifice say it looks like nothing so much as a cake decorated with an overabundance of candles. The entrance to Candlekeep is a double gate that stands at the end of the Way of the Lion, the only road that provides access to and from the outside world. The route follows a lonely path across the peninsula where Candlekeep stands. Those who gain entry discover a cloistered community of scholars milling around inside Candlekeep's walls, a place of enlightened conversation and friendly debate. No better place in the realms exists for those who have a love for or a need of knowledge and who want to pursue such interests alongside fellow seekers. Candlekeep has the largest repository of written lore in Faerun, including the collected prophecies of an ancient sage named Aluondo the Seer. Those compiled divinations make up a tiny fraction of the accumulated knowledge and secrets contained in the library's vast collection. Not all knowledge preserved in Candlekeep is of historical importance. The library holds thousands upon thousands of lost recipes, old songs, collections of folklore, and journals written by folks whose time has long since passed. The abundance of these ancillary works makes finding notable tomes an exercise in patience and perseverance. Fortunately, a legion of scholars and sages called the Avowed look after the library and remain vigilant in the care and cataloguing of all the knowledge it holds. This awesome intro makes me think of the great library of Alexandria, as well as all those fantasy settings I mentioned before. It goes on to describe the price of admittance into the keep if your characters are not members of the Avowed, as well as some pretty cool defenses and magical ways to get around some of those problems that your players will often kind of like just bring up. Like, for example, everything in Candlekeep is protected magically from theft, so the rogue can't just start filling his pockets with whatever he wants. There are also some great stat blocks for sages and master sages, and one for a spirit of a silver dragon who is bound to protect Candlekeep even in the afterlife. Pretty cool. It goes on to describe numerous locations, including erudite outfitters and clothiers, tailor for magician's robes. Now, some of our regular viewers might know that I am a big fan of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and I love the idea of using that location for an NPC that is in the mold of Garrick, who was a Cardassian on Deep Space Nine, who had been left behind, and people thought that he had been kind of banished, and other people said that maybe he was a spy, and his story arc is really fantastic. It's definitely one I'd love to bring into one of my campaigns. So, making Feldmar Bisset III, who's currently the manager of erudite outfitters and clothiers, a kind of Garrick-like spy, is really appealing. This, I think, is a great start for any DM who is looking to create their own kind of magical school or library. I would have loved to have this resource when I started creating my Homebrew city of Brywick, which I wanted to include a university for magicians. But I did find a fantastic third-party book called Scarthay, which is system agnostic, meaning that it's not necessarily designed specifically for 5e, but you can use it for that system or any system that you want. Now, before we jump into our character building section, I wanted to talk a little bit about an MTG setting known as Strixhaven. Now, this particular MTG setting, much like Ravnica in the past or Theros, is getting a D&D 5e book known as Strixhaven, a curriculum of chaos. And it is described as a rollicking campus adventure for the world's favorite role-playing game, which I think just sounds like really fun. Like I say, I love this type of tool to add to my toolbox where I can pluck the things that I really like and add them to my homebrew. But without delay, let's get to our character building section. Okay then, so once again, we're going to jump into 5th edition character sheet creator, which is the app that we like to use, or that I like to use to do all my character creation. And I was thinking about how I might create some sort of wizard. We created a bard in the last episode, and yeah, I like the idea of playing a wizard. I was always a little bit scared of this character class for the longest time, just because of the, you know, spell selection and having to know all the spells. But don't worry, we will walk through it together and we'll see if we can come up with a cool character. And today, continuing on my DS9 kick, I'm going to build a version of Garrick, the Tailor Spy from DS9, but we're going to build a Tailor Spy for Candlekeep. So we're going to use the character creator, and now in DS9, Garrick is a Cardassian. Obviously, there are no Cardassian characters here, but there is something called a changeling. Now then, obviously, Garrick is not a changeling in DS9, but there is a changeling in DS9, Odo, the constable. So just as a little nod to Odo, because I think he's really cool, and I've never built a changeling character before, I'm going to go with that. We're going to go wizard. And background, easy, we're going to go sage. There's no tailor. I think there is a spy one, but I like the idea of, you know, him being a member of the Avowed and running the erudite outfitters and clothiers. Now, skills. Immediately, deception and insight. Garrick is a guy who loves telling a lie, and he can often tell when people are lying to him. So those two skills are a good one. Now, stats. Changelings get +2 to charisma and +1 to whatever they choose, apart from charisma, obviously. Now then, so here you could do one of two things. You could, for example, put 8 in charisma, which would bring him up to 10, which is a +0, essentially making him so that he has no real weakness. But, you know, I don't usually like to do that. I like having a weakness. I think it makes a character more interesting and more all-round. But we're definitely going to go 16 in intelligence. Then I think I'm going to go 15 into constitution, because I want him to be tough and have as many hit points as he possibly can, because wizards don't have a lot of hit points. Then we're going to go 12 dexterity. We're going to go 10 charisma. We're going to go 11 wisdom. And we're going to dump strength like any good wizard character would. And then for the +1, we're going to put it into intelligence, okay? Now today we're only going to build up to level 2, because that's where wizards start getting funky. But we get 2 more skills, and I'm going to go with investigation and medicine. Now, the character which is in Candlekeep is an acolyte of a religion. I'm not crazy about religion, as we talked about in the DS9 episode. Go check it out. But I'm going to stick with that. So, D6 hit die. So we've got 8 hit points. We're going to go Quarterstaff, and we're going to go Arcane Focus. I prefer that to a component pouch. I never like keeping track of components and stuff like that. Scholar's Pack, fine, and the Spellbook. And we have our level 1 Changeling Wizard, who we're going to call Garrick Bisset the Third, because that is Bisset is the name of the manager of the current erudite outfitters and clothiers. So intelligence is 17 plus 3, nice, good constitution. Again, not even numbers, which sucks, but we'll get them up there eventually. Plus 1 dex, plus 1 charisma, plus nothing to wisdom. That's fine. Again, pretty decent. Let's have a look at the things that we get, though. So, changeling features. You can alter your voice and appearance as an action. Now, that's pretty cool. Obviously, for a spy, that would be amazing. The Sage feature, you frequently know where to find information concerning lore. Great if you're working in Candlekeep or a magical university. Wizard features, regain half your level, minimum 1 worth of slots during a short rest once per day. This is one of the problems with wizards. They don't, once you use your spell slots, bye-bye, you're gone. All right, now, no armor proficiencies. We've got some weapon proficiencies. Lots of languages, which I'm never crazy about because I just don't really use them in my campaigns, if I'm perfectly honest. But before we pick our spells, I'm going to go up to level 2. Oh, no. Level up. Okay, so wizard. And I'm going to go... There's lots of really, really good choices. I did a scribe wizard not so long ago. And that's really, really nice for just having lots and lots of spells and having like a living spell book that you can use. It's really quite amazing. I've always loved divination because you can kind of predict the future a little bit. They just have some amazing skills. But I think I'm going to go enchantment, specialize in control over others. I think this works really well for the Garrick character. So, let's take a look at what we get at level 2. Now, half gold and time cost to copy school spells, so any enchantment spells, and we're going to be picking our spells in just a minute. It takes less time and gold to copy them down. Again, your spellbook as a wizard is so hugely important that you're going to care about stuff like this, okay? Then you also get something that's called Hypnotic Gaze, okay? Charm a creature for a round as an action. I'm just going to read out the full rules to you. Hypnotic Gaze. Starting at 2nd level when you choose this school, your soft words and enchanting gaze can magically enthrall another creature. As an action, choose one creature that you can see within 5 feet of you. If the target can see or hear you, it must succeed on a wisdom saving throw against your wizard spell save DC or be charmed by you until the end of your next turn. The charmed creature's speed drops to 0 and the creature is incapacitated and visibly dazed. On subsequent turns, you can use your action to maintain this effect, extending its duration until the end of your next turn. However, the effect ends if you move more than 5 feet away from the creature, if the creature can neither see nor hear you, or if the creature takes damage. Once the effect ends, or if the creature succeeds on its initial saving throw against this effect, you can't use this feature on that creature again until you finish a long rest. So this is pretty cool, I gotta say, in terms of being able to get someone out of a fight. It's pretty handy. It's a wisdom saving throw, so you're probably not going to be able to do this to a dragon. And you also have to be within 5 feet of them, which is very scary for a wizard to be within 5 feet of anyone. But a cool little feature. Now let's pick some spells. So the first spell that I'm going to pick, the cantrip, is actually from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, and it is called Mind Sliver. And I'm also just going to read this for you guys. It's in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything on page 108. And it's an enchantment cantrip. It takes one action. It's got a range of 60 feet. It's a verbal component. And it lasts for 1 round. You drive a disorienting spike of psychic energy into the mind of one creature you can see within range. The target must succeed on an intelligence saving throw or take 1d6 psychic damage and subtract 1d4 from the next saving throw it makes before the end of your next turn. So, first of all, intelligence saving throw, that's awesome. Very few creatures have high intelligences, and so targeting that, I think, is a really, really good idea. Then you've also got an additional kind of almost like a bane or something like that, a 1d4 penalty from their next saving throw it makes before the end of your next turn. So this is like a setup for either you casting a different spell, whether it's charming or something like that, to make it easier for it to work, or setting up for a stunning strike from a monk or something like that, something cool. I think it's a brilliant cantrip, a damage dealing cantrip, and it scales. This spell's damage increases by 1d6 when you reach certain levels: 5th 2d6, 11th 3d6, and 17th 4d6, which is nice. Again, not a lot of cantrips scale, and I think it's pretty cool. Now, the next cantrip we are going to take is going to be Message. Really handy. It's the typical thing that, you want to speak to or coordinate with your party members secretly, but, there's someone standing there, or you want to do it across a distance. Again, it's a super handy spell. And then another great utility spell is Mage Hand. Super useful, helps you to pick things up, activate levers, do things. Just really good utility spell as well. So for first level spell, I'm going to choose Charm Person. I think that is very Garrick, very flavoursome. Then I'm also going to choose Mage Armor. Super good utility spell. Basically makes your AC 15 for an encounter, which is very nice. And then finally, I'm going to pick Sleep. Again, a very kind of Garrick spell. Now, I'm going to read this one out for you because it can be a little bit confusing. Sleep. This spell sends creatures into a magical slumber. Roll 5d8. The total is how many hit points of creatures this spell can affect. So, I roll 5d8, and let's say that I roll a total of, let's say, 30, okay? Now, that means that I can either put to sleep one character with 30 hit points, or 2 characters with 15 hit points each, or a combination that basically adds up to that total number. We've played a couple of different ways. We've homebrewed it a couple of different ways. But I think it's a really kind of handy spell. It affects creatures within 20 feet of a point you choose within range. And they're affected in order of their current hit points, ignoring unconscious characters. So if one creature has a max of 15, but they've currently only got 5, he's the first one to fall asleep, right? And you subtract that 5 from the 30 that you've rolled, and you keep going. So starting with the creature that has the lowest current hit points, each creature affected by this spell falls unconscious until the spell ends. The sleeper takes damage, or someone uses an action to shake or slap the sleeper awake. Subtract each creature's hit points from the total before moving on to the creature with the next lowest hit points. A creature's hit points must be equal to or less than the remaining total for that creature to be affected. Undead and creatures immune to being charmed aren't affected by this spell. So again, it's a bit complicated, but it's super handy for getting past guards, lower level creatures, getting them out of the situation. So sleep would be my final choice for the first level spells. So there we have it. I think overall I'm pretty happy with Garruk Bisset III, second level wizard, 14 hit points. Strength 8, intelligence 17. I'm sure we could get that up with, either the prodigy feat once we hit 4th level, or, some kind of magical item or something like that. But yeah, that's going to be climbing quick. Constitution can also go up and improve us, with regards to hit points and stuff like that. I love the changeling ability. I really like the kind of hypnotic gaze. And I really like the spells that we've chosen for Garruk. So there we have it. Let us know in the comments below what you think about Garruk Bisset III and the spells we've chosen. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. What do you think about the magical university/library setting? Have you created your own version? Let us know all about it in the comments below. Please like, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, keep slaying. If you've enjoyed this content, then please smash that like button, subscribe, share this around online, and come and visit our website, www.lavictoriaproductions.com, to see all our past episodes, as well as our blog posts and all the stuff that we're currently working on at La Victoria Productions. Why not reach out to us and tell us what you think of our videos? You can reach us on Twitter. @MouthLaVictoria is our producer. We are also on Instagram. I am EnanoLVP, and our producer is Jazzy J Cherot. We're also La Victoria Productions on Facebook and LinkedIn. Come on by and let us know what you think.